The 48 Laws of Power is a non-fiction book written by Robert Greene and first published in 1998. The book presents a guide to the strategies of power and manipulation in personal and political situations. It uses historical figures and events to illustrate each of the 48 laws, and provides advice on how to apply these laws in order to gain and maintain power. The book is divided into chapters, each dedicated to one of the 48 laws and has a violation of the law that would be a poor strategy. This book is a New York Times bestseller, is an international bestseller with over 1.2 million copies sold, and has been translated into 24 languages. Law 1 is never outshine the master. This law advises against drawing too much attention to oneself, as it can make one's superiors feel threatened and lead to their retaliation. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Downplaying one's own accomplishments and highlighting those of one's superiors. 2. Avoiding taking credit for other people's work or ideas. 3. Stepping back and allowing others to take the lead in certain situations. 4. Being careful not to reveal too much of one's own intelligence or ambition. 5. Not challenging the decisions or authority of one's superiors, at least in public. By being aware of the power dynamics at play in your relationships, you can avoid making your superiors feel threatened by your abilities or ambitions, and avoid putting yourself at risk of retaliation. It's also worth noting that this law doesn't mean to completely conceal one's talents and abilities, but it is important to be aware of the power dynamics at play in one's relationships and adjust one's behavior accordingly. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 1. 1. In a corporate setting, a subordinate not taking credit for the success of a project, instead, highlighting the contributions of their manager or CEO. 2. In a political context, a junior politician supporting the ideas and policies of their party leader or mentor. 3. In a creative field, an up-and-coming musician or artist working with a more established producer or mentor. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student being careful not to appear too knowledgeable or intelligent, in order not to make the teacher or professor feel threatened or inadequate. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member not calling too much attention to oneself and avoiding stealing the spotlight, in order not to make other members of the group feel insecure. By not outshining the master, one can avoid drawing too much attention to oneself, and avoiding making oneself more powerful or influential than one's superiors. This approach can help to maintain a sense of harmony, and avoid causing resentment or jealousy among those in positions of power. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being submissive or hiding one's talents and abilities, but about being aware of one's own power and influence, and using it in a way that does not make those in positions of power feel threatened or inadequate. Law 2 is never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. This law advises against putting too much trust in friends and instead suggests learning how to use one's enemies. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Recognizing that friends can be just as susceptible to jealousy, ambition, and betrayal as enemies. 2. Being careful with confidences and not revealing too much information to friends. 3. Using your enemy's weaknesses and vulnerabilities to your advantage. 4. Being willing to turn a friend into an enemy, or an enemy into a friend, as circumstances dictate. By being aware of the potential vulnerabilities of friends and the potential advantages of enemies, one can use these relationships strategically to gain power. It's important to note that the law is not advocating for treating friends poorly or making enemies unnecessarily. It's about being aware of the potential vulnerabilities and advantages of different relationships and using them to one's advantage. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 2. 1. In a business setting, an entrepreneur not relying too heavily on business partners or associates, but also building relationships and alliances with competitors. 2. In a political context, a candidate for office not placing too much trust in campaign advisors and supporters, but also seeking the support of opposing factions. 3. In a creative field, an artist or writer not relying too heavily on the support of friends and colleagues, but also seeking feedback and criticism from others. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student not relying too heavily on study partners or classmates, but also seeking the guidance and critique of teachers or professors. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member not placing too much trust in close friends, but also seeking feedback and counsel from others, including those who may not be close allies. By not putting too much trust in friends, one can avoid the risk of being let down and learn how to use enemies. This approach can help to create a network of support, including those who may not be close allies, which can be useful in different situations. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being paranoid or untrusting, but about being aware that friends can be unreliable and that enemies can be useful in different ways. It's important to keep in mind that enemies can provide valuable feedback, opposing views, and in some cases even lead to opportunities. Law 3 is conceal your intentions. This law advises against revealing one's true intentions, as it can make it easier for others to anticipate and counteract one's moves. Actions that align with this law could include: 1. Not revealing one's full hand or long-term goals in business or politics. 2. Being careful about who one confides in and what information one shares. 3. Being willing to change direction or alter one's plans if they are discovered. 4. Appearing to be flexible and open-minded, while maintaining a sense of purpose and direction. 5. Using misdirection and distraction to keep others guessing about your true intentions. By keeping one's true intentions hidden and being able to adapt and change direction as needed, one can maintain an element of surprise and make it more difficult for others to anticipate and counteract one's moves. It's important to note that this law doesn't mean to be dishonest or betray, it's about being strategic about the information one shares and being willing to adapt and change direction as needed to achieve one's goals. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 3. 1. In a business setting, a manager not revealing the company's plans for expansion or new product development to competitors. 2. In a political context, a candidate for office not revealing their campaign strategy or upcoming events to the opposition. 3. In a creative field, a director or producer not revealing the plot or theme of their new project to the public before its release. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student may not reveal the topic of their research or dissertation to peers or professors before it's completed. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member does not reveal their plans for an upcoming event or activity to the group until the last minute. By concealing your intentions, one can avoid giving others the opportunity to block or sabotage them and gain a strategic advantage. This approach can help to maintain the element of surprise, and avoid giving others an upper hand. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being secretive or dishonest but about being aware that revealing your plans or intentions can make you vulnerable. This law encourages us to be strategic, calculating and keeping a clear view of the bigger picture. It's about knowing when and how to reveal information at the right time, to maximize its impact. Law 4 is always say less than necessary. This law advises being mindful of the information one reveals, and avoiding unnecessary elaboration in order to maintain an air of mystery and keep others guessing about one's true thoughts and intentions. Actions that align with this law could include: 1. Being careful about what one reveals in conversations and meetings. 2. Avoiding unnecessary elaboration or sharing too much personal information. 3. Using no comment or silence as a means of controlling the flow of information. 4. Being mindful of one's body language, which can reveal more than words. 5. Not revealing one's true feelings or motivations in any situation. By being mindful of the information one reveals, one can maintain an air of mystery and make it more difficult for others to anticipate and counteract one's moves. Additionally, by saying less one can create a sense of power and respect, for people will naturally think of you as someone with a lot to say and something to hide. It's worth noting that this law is not about being evasive or dishonest, it's about being strategic about the information one shares and recognizing that less is often more when it comes to power and influence. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 4. 1. In a business setting, a CEO not revealing company financials or future plans to investors or competitors. 2. In a political context, a politician not revealing their stance on controversial issues until the last minute. 3. In a creative field, an author not giving away too many details about the plot or characters of their upcoming book. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student does not share their ideas or answers in class discussions unless prompted by the teacher. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member not revealing personal information or details about their life to others. By saying less than necessary, one can avoid revealing information that can be used against you and maintain an air of mystery. This approach can help to keep others guessing, to maintain the element of surprise, and to avoid giving others an upper hand. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being evasive or untruthful but about being aware that talking too much can reveal information that can be used against you. It's about knowing what information to reveal, when to reveal it and to whom, to get the desired outcome. Law 5 is so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. This law advises to protect one's reputation as it is crucial for one's survival and success in any field. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Being mindful of one's actions and the public perception of them. 2. Being careful about what one says and does in public. 3. Avoiding controversial or divisive topics. 4. Apologizing and making amends for any actions that might damage one's reputation. 5. Building and maintaining a network of allies and supporters. 6. Being generous and gracious to others and being known for one's honesty, integrity, and reliability. 7. Making an effort to shape and control one's public image. 8. Actively monitoring one's reputation, and being ready to take action if it is attacked. By being aware of the power of one's reputation, and actively working to protect it, one can build a powerful and lasting image that will serve one well in the long term. It's worth noting that this law isn't about being fake or pretentious, it's about recognizing the importance of reputation, and taking steps to protect it and shape it to one's advantage. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 5. 1. In a business setting, a CEO actively works to maintain a positive reputation by being transparent, honest and responsive to stakeholders. 2. In a political context, a politician proactively manages their image by being consistent in their messaging and taking responsibility for their actions. 3. In a creative field, an artist or writer actively works to build and maintain a positive reputation by being professional, ethical, and reliable. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student actively works to build a positive reputation by being responsible, reliable, and respectful. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member actively works to build and maintain a positive reputation by being trustworthy, dependable, and respectful. By guarding your reputation with your life, one can protect the most valuable asset one has. This approach can help to maintain credibility, trust and respect, which are the essential elements in any relationship, professional or personal. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being a perfectionist or being inauthentic, but about being aware that reputation is important and taking steps to actively manage it in a positive way. It's important to be aware of one's actions and how it might impact one's reputation and be proactive in maintaining it. Law 6 is court attention at all costs. This law advises to always be visible and in the spotlight, as this will help to build a reputation and make it more difficult for others to attack or undermine one's position. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Making a point of being seen and heard in important meetings and gatherings. 2. Speaking up and offering opinions and ideas in discussions. 3. Seeking out opportunities to be interviewed or quoted in the media. 4. Building a strong personal brand and leveraging social media to gain visibility. 5. Creating events or projects that will generate attention and interest. 6. Being willing to take on high-profile or risky projects. 7. Building and maintaining a network of allies and supporters. By being visible and in the spotlight, one can build a reputation for being powerful and influential, making it more difficult for others to attack or undermine one's position. It's worth noting that this law isn't about being arrogant or boastful. It's about recognizing the importance of visibility and reputation, and taking steps to court attention and build a strong personal brand. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 6. 1. In a business setting, a CEO regularly gives presentations, speeches and participates in media events, to raise their visibility and reputation. 2. In a political context, a politician actively seeks media attention and public appearances, to build a strong image and generate support. 3. In a creative field, an artist or writer actively promotes their work, by participating in art shows, writing in publications, and participating in interviews. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student seeks out opportunities to participate in class discussions and present their ideas in front of the class, to build a reputation as an active and knowledgeable student. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member actively seeks to be in the spotlight, by organizing events, speaking up in meetings and taking on leadership roles. By court attention at all costs, one can create a powerful image, increase visibility, and build a strong reputation. This approach can help to create opportunities and to build influence, by being visible and memorable. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being overly showy or boastful, but about being aware that visibility and reputation are important and actively working to build them. It's about being strategic about how and where to promote oneself and what message to convey in order to make a positive impact. Law 7 is get others to do the work for you, but always take credit. This law advises to delegate tasks and responsibilities to others, while making sure to take credit for their successful completion. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Selecting the right people to delegate tasks to, who are trustworthy and capable. 2. Communicating clear instructions and goals. 3. Creating an environment in which those working for you have a sense of ownership and pride in their work. 4. Regularly checking in and providing feedback on progress. 5. Making sure to take credit and giving credit where credit is due. 6. Actively promoting one's accomplishments and the accomplishments of those working for you to superiors and others in positions of power. By delegating tasks and responsibilities while making sure to take credit for their successful completion, one can build a reputation for being powerful and influential, as well as making it more difficult for others to attack or undermine one's position. It's worth noting that this law isn't about taking credit for someone else's work. It's about recognizing the importance of visibility and reputation and taking steps to build a strong personal brand by acknowledging the contributions of others to one's accomplishments. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 7. 1. In a business setting, a manager assigning tasks to team members but being sure to present the work as their own to upper management or clients. 2. In a political context, a candidate for office uses campaign staff to organize events and fundraisers but makes sure to take credit for their success in public appearances. 3. In a creative field, a director or producer having a team of writers and researchers working on a project but ensuring their name alone is on the final work. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student having a tutor or study group helps them with a project but presenting the work as their own to the instructor. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member having friends or other members help with a task but making sure to take credit for it. By getting others to do the work for you, but always taking the credit, one can save time and energy while still being recognized for the work done. This approach can help to build a reputation, gain recognition and increase influence. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being dishonest or taking credit for someone else's work but about being strategic about delegation and ensuring one's own reputation is enhanced. It's about being able to manage, lead and motivate others to achieve a common goal and ensuring that recognition is given to the right person. Law 8 is make other people come to you, use bait if necessary. This law advises to attract others to oneself by offering something of value, such as information or resources, rather than going to them. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Building a reputation for having valuable information or resources. 2. Offering valuable resources or services to others. 3. Creating a sense of scarcity or exclusivity around oneself or what one has to offer. 4. Being selective about with whom one associates and shares information. 5. Being willing to provide something of value in order to get something in return. 6. Positioning oneself as an expert in a particular field. By making others come to you, one can avoid putting oneself in a vulnerable position and can use the opportunity to gain information, favors, or other advantages. It's worth noting that this law isn't about being manipulative or deceitful. It's about recognizing the power of offering something of value and positioning oneself as a valuable resource or expert in order to attract others and gain influence. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 8. 1. In a business setting, a salesperson uses a special offer or promotion to attract customers, rather than actively seeking them out. 2. In a political context, a candidate for office uses a platform of popular policies to attract voters, rather than actively campaigning door to door. 3. In a creative field, an artist or writer uses an exclusive preview or sneak peek of their work to attract a buzz and build anticipation. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student uses their knowledge and skills to help other students, so that they come to seek out the student's help and guidance. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member organizes an event and invites others, making it easy for them to attend. By making other people come to you, rather than chasing after them, one can be more selective about who one deals with and can create a sense of exclusivity and value around oneself. This approach can help to build a reputation, gain recognition and increase influence. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being passive or indifferent but about being strategic and using means to attract others to come to you when necessary. It's about knowing how to create value and providing an incentive to be sought after, rather than having to seek others out. Law 9 is win through your actions, never through argument. This law advises to take action to achieve one's goals, rather than trying to persuade others through argument or discussion. Actions that align with this law could include 1. Taking action to achieve one's goals rather than relying on persuasion or negotiation. 2. Being proactive and decisive in one's actions. 3. Building a reputation for getting things done. 4. Being willing to take calculated risks in order to achieve one's goals. 5. Being flexible and adaptable in one's approach, adjusting one's tactics as needed. 6. Being persistent and not getting discouraged when faced with resistance or opposition. By taking action to achieve one's goals, one can build a reputation for being powerful and influential, as well as making it more difficult for others to attack or undermine one's position. It's worth noting that this law isn't about being impulsive or aggressive, it's about recognizing the power of taking action, and being decisive, persistent and adaptable in order to achieve one's goals. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 9. 1. In a business setting, a manager implements new processes and procedures, rather than trying to convince others that they are necessary. 2. In a political context, a politician leading by example, rather than making promises or trying to argue for their policies. 3. In a creative field, an artist or writer creates work that speaks for itself, rather than trying to explain or justify it through argument. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student excels in their studies and completing their assignments, rather than trying to argue for a better grade. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member volunteering or taking initiative in projects, rather than making arguments for why they should lead. By winning through your actions, one can create a powerful impact and gain respect. This approach can help to build a reputation, gain recognition, and increase influence by being an active contributor. This law is about being a leader, leading by example and being able to deliver rather than only making claims or promises. It's not about avoiding arguments altogether, but about recognizing that actions speak louder than words, and to focus on delivering results rather than relying on rhetoric or argument. Law 10 is infection: avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This law advises to avoid those who are negative or have a history of bad luck, in order to protect oneself from association. Actions that align with this law could include: 1. Steering clear of people who are unhappy, negative, or constantly complaining. 2. Identifying and avoiding those who seem to be unlucky or have a history of failure. 3. Being selective about with whom one associates and shares information. 4. Avoiding getting involved in situations or projects that seem doomed from the start. 5. Maintaining a positive attitude and surrounding oneself with positive people. 6. Distance oneself from those who have a negative impact on one's reputation or career. By avoiding those who are negative or have a history of bad luck, one can protect oneself from association with failure, or negative reputation, and maintain a positive image and environment. It's worth noting that this law isn't about being callous or indifferent to others, it's about recognizing the power of association, and taking steps to protect oneself by avoiding negative or unlucky people and situations. Here are some example scenarios for enacting Law 10. 1. In a business setting, an employee staying out of office politics and not taking sides in conflicts between colleagues or departments. 2. In a political context, a public official avoids getting involved in internal party conflicts and aligning themselves with one faction or another. 3. In a creative field, a writer or artist avoids getting involved in personal conflicts within the industry or between different groups or individuals. 4. In a classroom or academic setting, a student avoids getting involved in conflicts between classmates or student groups. 5. Within a group or social circle, a member avoids getting involved in conflicts between other members or factions. By avoiding stepping on toes and getting involved in internal politics, one can maintain neutrality and avoid getting caught up in conflicts that can harm relationships and reputation. This approach can help to maintain credibility, trust and respect, and keep one's options open. It's important to recognize that this law is not about being apathetic or indifferent, but about being aware of the risks of getting involved in internal politics, and being able to maintain a neutral and professional attitude. It's about being able to observe, understand and analyze situations before making a move, and always considering the long-term implications of one's actions.